Let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoutinger.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Stoutinger.
Hi, y'all are. Cajun Rob here hanging with you.
You know, we're only like 50 episodes in, and that gets me every time.
I thought everybody said it that way. Well, where I was raised, I guess.
I guess everybody out of the bayou don't, but
yeah, that's true.
That's all right. We forgive you.
Okay, that's cool.
I just want to say, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. A very special guest. We have a woman who is a published author. She's been in a couple different magazines. She's dedicated fisherwoman. She's got a specialty that not a lot of men do because of the hookup ratio is not that great. And Lynda Gessner is our guest tonight. She is leading the Lady Bass Anglers Association in points after the 2 tournament mark. She's up by 5 points, I believe, on the second place angler on the pro side. So
that's quite a compliment. There's a bunch of hammers in that league, so that's quite the accomplishment.
There is. And, we've had a couple of them on, and, we were talking before the show that the one thing that we all find in common with the women is they're more apt to help each other out until tournament time starts. Then it's one for all and all for one.
Start calling boat numbers out.
Yeah.
So boat numbers get called out, it changes. It's all good.
But, it's like that in anything. Once the game starts, game time.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to bring Lynda on and talk to her about a little bit about her life and about her fishing expertise.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Hello, Lynda. How are you?
I'm fine. Doing
much better.
Doing real good.
That's good.
Hello.
If you don't mind telling us a little bit about your background. And
as far as fishing is concerned, I've been fishing since, or I want to say professionally fishing, if you want to call it that, since 2000. I originally started with the St. Louis Gateway Bass and Gals as a local club, and we were in the WBFA, and we did team tournaments once a year. And so I started doing the team tournaments, the top 5 would do team tournaments. So I started that. And then that converted over to the WBT, which BASS managed until they folded. And then I went ahead to the, the FLW at the time, the Everstart series. I think I fished that 1 or 2 years. I can't remember. And then the LBAA, which is a Lady Bass Angler Association, started up with Secret and Cheryl on Kentucky Lake. We did a little, starter, and I fished every one of those events. But it's been, what is this, 24? So it's been 24 years since I've been, I want to say, professionally fishing. I've done some small stuff, some charity stuff. I fished when I moved down to Arkansas here. I fished with Mr. Bass as a co-angler just to learn some of the lakes. But I rather be a boater than a co-angler. I rather manage my own decisions and make wrong decisions than have to deal with somebody else's decisions that don't work for me. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the hard things about being a co-angler is, like for me, some people say I'm a control freak, and that's kind of
I'd rather make a bad decision than have somebody else doing this, because I am just biting my tongue. I mean, the first co-angling that I did with a BASS, like a BFL series, we were on Lake of the Ozarks, and we were way up PB1. This guy's flipping a spinnerbait to some wooden stuff. So I'm just flipping, same as him, to a different piece of wood, but it was ahead of the boat. He says, "You can't do that." I said, I just did. I can do it just fine. He said, no, you can't go before ahead of the boat. So I go, okay. And I slung that thing backwards, being a little upset, and boom, I pulled one in, and that was the last fish I got all day. But during the day, he went ahead and asked me, because I know the area very well. I fished it a lot, and he would catch fish off of areas that he said, where do you want to go? I said, let's go over here. I think there'll be some. And he caught fish. I didn't catch any because I couldn't catch, ahead of the boat. But, I respect co-anglers because I know what they have to go through, and it's just not my cup of tea. I have a hard time with it myself.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, you've been at it for so long.
I co-angle with one lady, Mickey Wolfenberger. She used to be with the LBAA. She's up in Missouri. She's a real good angler. We do a Charger Champion tournament, and I co-angle with her. But we have a unique kind of arrangement. She fishes a certain way, and I fish other ways while she's doing something else. And somehow we put it together. We've come in, one time we came in 6th, one time we came in 10th, and there's like 150, 160 boats. Dang. We're the only woman team. So it's like, that's pretty impressive.
It is.
Absolutely.
Well, just coming in 10th out of 150, regardless.
Yeah, we've pulled money in twice. So, we were happy with that. We've only done it like 4 or 5 years. So we're pretty happy with what we've done. Last year, I think we stunk it up a little bit, but we'll try this year again. We just go out there and see what we can do.
There you go.
And so, if you don't mind getting into, you mentioned briefly about you fish different than she does. What is your preferred way to fish?
My preferred way is a frog. Now I do fish a frog when she fishes, but she usually drops shots in like 40 or 50 feet of water.
Okay.
So I throw everything else in the book. I'll throw a jig, I'll throw a spinnerbait, I'll throw a crankbait, I'll throw a swim bait, Texas, everything I can. We're normally on points, and for some reason I do pick up some fish, and we put a bag together. So it works. Nice. It works out for us.
Cool.
But my favorite way to fish is a frog fish. I mean, people know me, and it's like, if the frog's working, I'll give you a wink and a thumbs up, and but if I can get the frog to work, I can get 2 or 3 bites on a frog, I'm in. I will go find that structure and hopefully they'll bite.
Cool.
Yeah. Rob, just to give you a heads up.
I do have a favorite. Yeah, I do have a favorite frog. There's a lot of frogs out there I haven't used, so I don't know. But I know some frogs, the angle of the hook is just a couple of degrees off. But okay. I do use one. I'm not sponsored by them, but Live Target, the small one, the real teeny one.
Yep.
The angle on the hook is perfect. You don't have to do anything. You don't cut the skirts. You don't pull the hooks up or anything. Right out of the package, they're good. And that's the one I use. I've won lots of money off that one. It just worked for me.
Cool.
Nice. Hey, Rob, just to give you a heads up, there's no video on you.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it blinked off. I'm gonna try to get off and get back on. But I know it's an improvement.
Sounds good.
All right.
You've gotten better looking.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, you're retired military.
Well, I'm retired, and I served 6.5 years military.
Okay.
I actually worked for McDonnell Douglas and Boeing for 30 years. Defense contractor. So I instead of working on helicopters. Excuse me?
A little bit more money working for Boeing than the United States Army.
Yeah, I was able to retire at 57, so I'll say yes, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
But I was basically doing the same thing. Instead of getting my hands on helicopters, I was writing technical manuals and, for the F-15, F-18, AV-8, T-45, support equipment, all that kind of stuff. So it's still still same kind of stuff. I loved the work. But I love the retired also.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see the comment, but Pam said, John, that was an insult, but just a funny. That was the dumbest question you'll ask all year. What is your preferred bait?
Pam's funny.
Yeah, Pam. Yeah, I was gonna text you later to see if you want to come on the show. I don't know about that one. No, we love you, Pam. No, so you went from turning wrenches to writing manuals.
Wow.
Yeah, and in McDonnell Douglas, it's a little bit different than a lot of the companies. We actually start from nothing. We have to pull all the drawings and all the logistics data, engineering data. We have to go to the product, work with the engineers and put something on paper from nothing. It's not like we get something from the engineers and then we put it into a certain format. We had to start with drawings and part lists and all that kind of stuff. Right. And then you go out and you proof it, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds
cool.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned you've been professional fishing for 24 years.
Correct.
So
yeah, like I said, we started with the WBFA. It was all the women's circuits, and then I did some, like I said, Bassmaster. I did Bassmaster with the WBT. I did some BFLs and different things, and then I did the old FLW Everstart series as a boater 1 year or two. I forget what it is, and then the LBAA came along, which is the Lady Bass Anglers Association.
Right.
And cool. I fished every single tournament. I think there's only two of us that have fished every single tournament with the LBAA, and I am one of those persons.
If you don't mind me asking, who's the other?
Robbie Hartline.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. I mean, we were lucky to work for McDonnell Douglas and Boeing and flex our time so we could go ahead and work, our hours ahead or, build up some hours and then just flex that time and have other people, support the work that had to be done. We'd be on the phone if we had to be to, keep the ball rolling. But I will say that the company was very nice with the flex time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Pam follows up her insult with, we know Lynda's preferred bait anywhere in the country.
Yeah, that's true. I'll show anybody. I mean, I have no, there's no hidden secrets there. I mean, I can show people how to do it, but I've been doing it since, I'll say 15 years. I started at Gunnersville.
Yep.
Somebody showed me how to frog fish at Gunnersville with a scum frog. And I went home and I practiced with I had a spinning reel at the time. And I noticed that I'd get really good fish on a lake that I lived at, but I couldn't get the hook set. And so when I moved over to the bait caster and figured out why I would miss them, then I figured out how I could get that hook set better, especially with women, because our wrists are not as strong as men.
Yep.
And so there's a certain thing you have to do to make sure that when you set that hook, you actually have to set it against your body.
Yep.
And so that rod doesn't come back. Yep. So your whole body is holding that rod, and then you have to start reeling, and that will get that hook set, and you'll catch a lot of fish. But it takes a lot of practice. That's my thing. I go anywhere in the country, and I will fish a frog for, I'll say, any of these tournaments, as long as the water temperature is over around 65. I will fish, I'll say 2 hours out of the day at different places. And if I get one sniff, I'm in. If I don't, then it's just, people will tell you I have a hard time putting it in the box, but I have to put it in the box sometimes because, I mean, it's worse than drugs. I'm telling you. It's, that topwater bite when they just blast it is just amazing, And
it is.
But I've been with people that it's worked, and it's like, gosh, I've given them rods. I've given them, my other frog rod. I've given them the bait, and it's, I don't mind sharing. It's a fun way to fish. So
Absolutely.
mm-hmm.
But what do you think the best conditions for a frog? If you had a perfect day to frog, what would that be? You think?
A little bit of high water, buckbrush in the shade with some rock, just like
Gotcha.
a regular, flipping a jig bite. Like bull shoals, it would have been much better if it was like a foot or two higher in the buckbrush, and those fish were kind of holding at the bottom of the buckbrush, because you can get a frog in there without getting it caught with like treble hooks.
Yeah.
Just give it a couple of twitches, and if they're feeding, they're going to take it, whether they slurp it or whether they blow it out of the water. So anywhere there's tight cover, a little rock, a little, buckbrush, even if you have like a brush pile under the water with one or two stick ups, you just throw that frog right over the top, where something like a spook or something, you might get caught with the trebles. Not with a frog. It's, it comes right across there, and you just give it the nice twitch that, gets a little pop, and it'll work, and then what happens here in Arkansas is, after the, right now, every full moon, your bluegill are spawning.
Yep.
So I had a guy teach me how to use like a top toad. I don't usually do it, but you take a top toad and you throw it as far as you can, as close as you can to the shoreline, and you reel it as fast as you can, because those large fish are shallow eating bluegill, and they'll take those top toads, on windy points, on shallow. So I don't exclusively use the one frog, but 80% of the time, if I can get them to bite on that frog, we're in. So, but I'll try a top, I'll try a popper. Sometimes I'll do a spro popper. Depending on how windy it is, I might need a little louder. But I know when to use what.
Yep.
Yeah. Andrew Pulliam says, "Hey, y'all, we're gonna have to get some northern people on here to watch our show. I guess, I don't know."
I'm from New York, Long Island, New York originally, so but
cool.
I didn't fish there. I fished up in the Catskills when I was younger, but I learned most of my fishing in Missouri. Like I said, the Gateway Bass and Gals, I joined. It might have been 2000. I can't remember. That's a long time ago, but I will say that the local club, the women's local club, it was really nice, because you don't have people yelling at you. You don't have people, directing you. We kind of share stuff. We help each other get our boats in and out. We teach people things if they want to, if they're brand new, you start them out with the basics with, Texas rig or, a shaky head, just, the
Absolutely.
basic stuff, and start building up. And, so you kind of get them used to, in the springtime, here's what we're using and why, and, as the seasons go by, why you're using different stuff. We try. Local clubs are great for that.
They are.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people, when they teach people, other people about fishing, they forget to start with the basics.
Yep.
Yes.
And why and how, rather than this is how you throw this. This is how you walk a dog. This is how you flip a jig. Well, why are you flipping it? Why are you walking it? Do you walk it fast? Do you walk it slow? And it's the subtleties like that mean a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I'm on the boat, I usually talk to people why I'm doing what I'm doing. Some people don't want to hear it, but unfortunately, that's what I talk about. Why I'm doing what I'm doing, especially if it's working, and what's going through my mind of why it's working, and certain changes that you have to make when they kind of slow down, or what they're doing and what changes you're not making. Because I've done that the last tournament. I even said, I know exactly what these fish are doing at Bull Shoals. Are moving out. So what I do, I didn't move out. So I still had the smaller fish. But, it's certain things. You just, sometimes you listen to yourself and sometimes you don't. So
absolutely.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
And Pam wants to know, what's your favorite brand and color of frog?
It's the Live Target, the small one, in yellow and black. I have over 10 of them, and then I do the other colors. Sometimes I'll go to white, or I'll go the black and blue, very rarely, maybe 2%. I'm a percenter. When I was fishing with Secret last year, we were on bull shows. I give her a percent when I got to a certain spot, and it wasn't with my frog, it's just what I was using. And I'd tell her, when we get right here, this is like a 70% spot, we're going to get hit. And then if it was, this is only 10%, but 10% is better than 0, you know? So, but I'm a percent person. But yeah, if I'm going to fish that frog, it's going to be that live target, yellow and black. That's what's on there. I call her Precious. She is named Precious. And then I'll go from there. I usually, if I use a Spro, either I'll use a black, the flat-faced one, the Popper, or the Popper Junior. Or I'll use what I call Old Ugly, and it's usually like a Fire Tiger or orange and white. Just something really weird that gets something's attention. And that's, I don't use any other frogs. I'm not changing because it works.
So, yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of people's problem, is they find something that works, and it's like, oh, this guy's catching fish on that. Let me switch.
Yeah, no, you got to find what works for you. It works for me. I mean, I know there's a lot of frogs out there, but yeah, I've tried some, and I just, like I said, my hookup ratio is very good. So I don't want to work on not getting as good as what I've got. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Andrew Pulliam says 1 Florida guy isn't enough. Yeah, two guys. No, he was just making a comment about me trying to get some more northern people watching the show, and he's down in Florida. So I talked before the show started. I was telling you my excellent percentage on frog hookup ratio.
Right.
Somewhere between 2 and 5.
Well, the first question I've asked you is what length of rod are you using, and what is the weight? What is it? A heavy? Is it a medium heavy? Is it a 7.2? Is it a 7.8? What is it?
Generally, like for me personally, I'll use between a 7.6 and an 8.
Okay. Is it a heavy?
Medium.
I don't care about the medium heavy.
Medium heavy. Yep.
That's one of your problems. You need to go and look for a really good frog rod. That's a heavy, in my opinion. Because you said you were losing them, you were getting blow ups, but you weren't getting them all the way in.
Correct.
Which tells me that the bait is not sticking in their mouths. You're not getting the hook set. Every time I get a hook set, when I bring it back, 99% of the time it's in the roof of the mouth and it's stuck. They're not coming undone. So what's happening is you are not getting a good hook set. So I'd say your medium heavy rod that you're using is not, the tip is too light. You're not getting you're not getting the force that you need to set that hook in the top of that fish's mouth. Gotcha. And then what size line are you using?
30 to 50 pound braid.
Okay, well, 30's too small. It doesn't have enough force to set that hook. So I would, and this is just my opinion. There's other people's opinions out there that says 30's fine. I can't use 30. I break it. It breaks. It snaps.
Wow. Yep.
So I'll use Power Pro 50 if there's no vegetation, like heavy lily pads, which I don't fish normally. Or if there is heavy vegetation, I'll use the 65-pound Power Pro. And then, because if it gets caught in that vegetation, you just stick your rod to it and pull, and it will rip those pads apart.
Oh yeah.
So, but that would be my suggestion: is to find you a frog rod. I know that there's, I've got a St. Croix. I used to be sponsored by St. Croix, but I had personal problems and had to let that go. But best rods on earth. But I have a frog rod. I had 2 of them. Broke one back in a couple years ago at Toledo Bend on a 5 or 6 pounder that I flipped into the boat stupidly. But it works for me. It's only a 610, and I have it down pat with what I have some type of a lose. I don't care what lose I have on there. One of their high-end lose reels.
Right.
I really don't care about the gear ratio. If it's a slow gear ratio, I'll reel faster. If it's a fast gear ratio, I'll reel slower. That doesn't matter to me. But that 50-pound braid and the rod that really has a good tip on it, your medium heavy you've got too much action in your tip.
Okay.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes complete sense to me. And I think because I'm a small guy, I think maybe
it doesn't matter. You don't need to shorten the rod. Okay. When I twitch that frog, my rod goes in the water. I've had some guides that I've gone out with go, that is strange. It's like you find the comfortable spot where you twitch that frog, and if your rod goes in the water, who cares? Once they touch the frog and you reel and set that hook, you got them.
Yep.
And I've had that St. Croix rod for probably 10, 12 years, and she's still doing good. I kind of baby her, I fix her up every year, put some more epoxy on it and that, but used to be the old recoil guides. I've never had a guide break. I tried to make a recoil guide with what is it? What is it? Mud hole. I made two frog rods, and I wish I could find the blank that they used at St. Croix for that St. Croix rod, because it is just perfect for me. And,
cool.
Have you been out to the St. Croix factory?
I haven't. It's too far away, but they don't make the blank anymore. They don't make that blank because they have all the new SRT, all the different stuff they have in their rods. But that blank, for some reason, that their old frog rod back in the 2000s, the frog rod with the it was a Legend series with the recoil guides.
Yep.
It was only 610, and it works well. So I use that one 90% of the time. I'll use the other ones, my other frog rods, but my hookup ratio on that one rod is just really, really good. So cool. The day it breaks, I will be crying.
So Toledo Bend, you had a pretty good tournament.
I did. I got real lucky. I found a couple of things. Frog was working, but that wasn't my main. The first day was really what was it? A weightless wacky Senko up against the shoreline, because the fish were starting to spawn on the sand, and in between all the buckbrush and all that cypress or whatever, cedar, whatever it was. If you could get it to the shoreline and just bring it back a little bit, they were hitting real good. But also a frog. The last day of practice, I was not doing a frog bite. I was doing something else. And the last day of practice, I went in and checked the one area, and the frog bite was on. So I spent that whole day till about 6 o'clock looking for areas where the frog would work. And I had about 2 or 3 areas that were expansive that I could really run with. So it was a frog bite and that wacky Senko. And the first day, the frog bite just wasn't really doing well. So the wacky Senko really came in pretty good. And then day 2, we had that really bad weather. And I told my co-angler, I said, I'm not going far. I said, because I know I almost seemed like I drowned it last time on Toledo Bend. I got out in those boat lanes between the cove 6 Mile and whatever that other cove is. And I got out of the boat lane about 200 yards. And I mean, my graphs went off because I was banging the water so hard. I mean, it was pretty bad chop. I got us back into Husin Bay or whatever it is. And it was like, oh my God. So I told her, I said, I'm not playing that game. I said, there's plenty of fish in this cove right here. So we went to my first spot, nothing. And I said, okay. I said, I'm not going to go my second spot because that was beat up yesterday. We caught some on that wacky, and I said there was too many people in there. So I went to a whole different place that I didn't go on the first day, but I saw it in practice. I got a couple in practice. I really didn't fish it too hard, but it was It was at First Bay in Houston. What is it called? White Oak or whatever it is. I forget what it is. The first one on the north side, and just followed the right hand side and just did really well on the frog in there. So it was pretty impressive. Actually, in the morning, I went ahead and we started right at the boat docks right there, right after the ramp. And my co-angler was doing pretty good. And I was throwing a weighted Senko up and catching Kentuckies. And I said, well, at least I get five. I had 5 Kentuckies and like 5 casts, it seemed like. And then I threw my frog to the bulkheads up there, those bulkheads behind the docks. And I said, this is the stuff I like to fish a frog with, not all that vegetation. And all of a sudden, this guy came and he just blasted it apart. I said, oh, game on. So I got a couple on the bulkheads right there at the, at those boat docks. And then, like I said, I went over to that one cove and just proceeded to wax them in there. The weather got really, really bad. I should have stayed back there and worked it real hard. I was going to come out, and I told my co-angler at 12 o'clock, we were working our way out of there. And I said, at 12, I'll make a decision. And I should have just stayed in the back. But I'd rather be safe than not safe in bad weather. It's not worth it to me. But I said, we're going to just stay here. We're protected. And safety is prime. Safety is really key in my book. I'd rather not catch fish than not be unsafe. And Toledo Bend is really bad. It got bad there about 1-2 o'clock. People were really surprised that the weather whipped up 30-mile, 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it was pretty bad out there. So I got lucky. I got lucky. The frog bite was on, and the wacky Senko was working. But I did a frog the whole time on day 2. Okay. After the morning. So
cool.
Yeah. TJ Dobbs, thank you for showing up. TJ, he's a northern guy. So your next tournament is Table Rock. Are you looking forward to that?
I am. I was up there last week with my ladies club, Gateway Bass and Gals, and I did well. I was working some baits up there. Wasn't a frog. I got 1 bite, but that was not the go-to. But the water level has come up 2.5 feet, which means now the water's gonna the buckbrush that was not in the water is now in the water. So if they don't go messing with the fluctuation up and down, the back of those creeks might be pretty good, maybe with a rattle trap or a frog in the buckbrush or something. But if it's muddy, I don't know. I don't fish mud well. I had to do that last week with my club down here at Nimrod. It was pretty muddy, but I'll figure something out. Black, blue, I'll do a black, blue, some jigs, something. But Table Rock, I don't know how to fish it in the mud, so we'll figure that out if we have to. I'm hoping it drops out this week and we do good. That's all. Go to different parts of the lake, see what's working, what's not, and go from there. So nice. It's going to be post spawn though. I saw a lot of beds that were empty. There was some fry. I think with the last 2 moons, there was fish move up, but there might be another. There's going to be a couple other spawns, but where you are on the lake, you'll get more fish on the post spawn than not. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. So I like to ask this question: is there a body of water you have not fished that you would like to fish?
I don't know. I've fished a lot of bodies of water. I know which bodies of water I love. I like Caddo. I like Palestine because I usually do good there certain times of the year. I've fished Amistad before. That was great. I've fished Lake Fork. That was wonderful. Mother's Day, Lake Fork. Oh my God. Take a Road Runner on 10-pound test with an ultralight. into the lily pads that are like the size of plates and hang on with a little roadrunner. That's fun. But otherwise, I don't know. I mean, where's there a good frog fishing lake that I haven't been on? Well, I mean, somebody tell me. I'm ready to go. So. But
there you go.
I've fished most of the lakes in Arkansas. I fished most of the lakes in Missouri. Our Bass and Gals Club is going to Kentucky Lake in June, and that's awesome with a frog. So I'm hoping that works. So I fished Gunnersville. There's too much green there. People at Caddo say fish the trees. Well, at Gunnersville, it's fish the grass, right? Fish the grass. It's too much. But Neely Henry, I don't know. You guys tell me, what's a good lake I need to fish?
I think any of them you can get to.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't do smallmouth fishing very much. St. Clair and that kind of stuff seems nice, but I don't want to travel that far. I can stay right here at Hot Springs, and I've got Washita, I've got DeGray, I've got Hamilton, I've got Greason, I've got Nimrod. Well, Nimrod's closed for a while, but I mean, there's so many lakes right here, and then I can go 4 hours away and still hit Bull Shoals and Table Rock and Stockton and Palm de Terre and Lake of the Oak. I mean, I've got so many lakes here that, as long as the fish are biting, I don't care what lake it is.
There you go.
It sounds to me like it doesn't matter what lake it is, you're going to get fish to bite.
I try, sometimes you don't, but I try,
Now, on
Otherwise,
the opposite end of the spectrum, is there a lake that you've been to that you don't really care to go back to?
No. I was intimidated when I first got on Caddo the first time with a guide, and he ran around the Louisiana side over on Turtle Mound and all that in the government ditch, and then he'd quiz me on, okay, where are we? And it's like, who the heck knows? But you go on that lake 2 or 3 times, and it's fine. I'm not intimidated by Caddo. Safety first, but Caddo is pretty easy to run, as long as you keep eyesight of your markers,
Okay.
But otherwise, no, I haven't ever been to one that I said, gosh, I never hope I come back here. I've never been on a body of water like that.
I've been on Gunnersville once, and I felt the same that way.
Oh yeah, I like Gunnersville. There's just too much vegetation there for me. It's like, where do you start? I do, like I said, I learned how to frog fish there, so I know a couple of spots. I've been on Gunnersville more than once, so I do have spots on Gunnersville. I am, but
okay.
Thank God I have my old maps so I can remember, because us old folks love maps, and
I still got mine. I still got mine.
Yeah, so it's like, they just don't make them anymore.
No.
Pam Alberta says, hi, Lynda.
Hey, Pam. I hope she's going to Table Rock.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
I believe so. I think she's leading the co-angler division, so.
Okay, yeah.
And she's had a good year. She's had a great year.
Yes, she has.
She is.
Yeah.
She's actually leading the co-angler division over Seeker at York.
Wow.
That's second.
I think, co-angling, one, you got to get with the right angler. They have to be around fish. Yep. And if you can fish and they're around fish, doesn't mean the angler's going to catch fish, but if you're around fish, then you got a good shot. There's some folks that just draw bad and people aren't around fish. I mean, I've been there. I've had to, for 8 hours, go around the same island and there's no fish, and so yes, it's skill, but it also has to do with luck of the draw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Pam is a great angler. Most of the women that I've ever fished with the LBA are wonderful anglers. They're very good. It's just that, either financially or, they just don't have the experience that they want to have, that they'll go in that co-angling side of the
Right.
side of the boat. So,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
you've got like Secret York that it's neither. It's just, she, her body's wearing out. She had to take a break from something. So she's trying to concentrate on fishing instead of all that other stuff. So,
Yep.
Time to enjoy it.
Co-angling for me is hard to enjoy, but yes, that's.
Yes. Pam is saying she can't wait for Table Rock.
Yeah.
And she hopes she draws you.
Hopefully I'll be on fish for her. That's all I can hope for.
Yep.
But so.
Yeah, being a code helps. You don't have to practice. I mean, you just show up and fish, so that helps a lot. Somebody can't get off or whatever, that helps.
Right, and we have a lot of the codes that we practice with, which helps. I mean, if I understand people that just come in the last day, to me that's not. You got to try and somehow finagle, a sick day or a personal health day or whatever, work on a Saturday beforehand, but try and get out on that water just to see if you can get something to bite that works for you and understand the water that you're fishing. I can't see how people come in blind and expect miracles. I good for them, but I can't see how to do that.
Yeah, especially a new lake. I mean, if you go to a new lake, you got to at least see what's going on.
Right. Even if you're not working the same thing as your angler, if your angler is catching them on something and you're doing something else, at least see if what you're comfortable with is working. I mean, sometimes you don't have to do what your angler's doing. Maybe they're not catching fish, but whatever you're comfortable with is working. That gives you confidence, whether it's false confidence, but at least it gives you some confidence, because practice is overrated sometimes. I mean, sometimes you just need to go out there and fish the conditions, and get it in our heads that, what happened. They're there. They're just moved or they're changed up a little bit or, and just can't get out of your head and just go fishing. So,
or weather changes like happens all the time.
Oh yeah. So.
Yeah, you had that on Bull Shoals, didn't you? Like day one was one way, day two was total opposite.
I don't remember.
Or was it Toledo? One of those two tournaments was.
Toledo was day one was nice and day two was not nice, but Bull Shoals was okay on day one and windier than heck on day two. It was opposite direction and blew all my water out. But I went on Bull Shoals. I went to new water completely. Went all the way to the back of the coves, and was shaky heading and getting them off the beds in the very back in like 6 inches of water.
Oh wow!
The water was blue as can be. I mean, blue as whatever my name is. It was just crystal clear. It was beautiful water up by the dam area, and.
Nice.
But my water, I had to find new water. The stuff I was fishing that I was catching fish on totally got blown out. Once that water got dirty, I couldn't do anything with it. So, because it was so clear, and I don't think those. For me, the fish don't hit when it's dirty water and it gets dirty. They don't care. But when it's clean water and it gets dirty, maybe it's in my brain, but I can't catch anything.
Yeah.
So.
You're not alone in that aspect. So before we get too far along, I mean we're almost 45 minutes in. Can you recap your setup for your frog fishing?
I can. I have a 610 heavy frog rod from St. Croix. It's a Legend. It's the Legend. Oh, I have a Legend X and a Legend tournament, not the tournament one up. It was a Legend series. It's the old Legend series. And it was 50-pound braid. I have a Lose. I do left-handed reel, but it's a Lose. Any of their top end, 250, 200 and above, the BB1 and above, anything that can hold up to 50-pound braid. and then 50-pound braid for normal, and then 65-pound braid if it's very heavy vegetation. And then I use the live target, the small one, and it's the yellow and black.
Yep.
Yellow and black one. And then if it's a little bit choppier, I think a little bit dirty, sometimes I'll use that Spro Popper frog in the black, or the Popper Junior. I like a junior. I like that small profile, because what I say is the fish, they kind of want to keep it on the down low. And that small profile, for some reason, works for me instead of that big splash or that big plop. It's just little, right? It just works for me. And then if I work in like a bluegill pattern, I'll work, the same rod reel, 50-pound line, but I'll put like a, what do you call it? A top toad. I put a top toad on there, throw it out as far as I can, real close to the shore, almost parallel to the shore, as close as I can get, and reel it. You can't reel it any faster. I don't care if you have a 10-to-1. You can't reel it any faster than reel goes, and you will get bites. So that's kind of what I do. And Pam Martin Wells's favorite frog, I think, is a top toad. We've talked about it because she likes to frog fish too. I would love to go fishing with Pam, frogging somewhere. I know she's going through some stuff right now, but I talked last year and said we really need to get together and do some frog fishing. We need to trade some trade secrets here and see what we got and see how we can learn off of each other, because I'd love to be a fly in the wall when Pam catches them on a frog. I really would.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Shout out to her.
Now, I do have a different question to ask you.
Okay.
What is your favorite homemade cookie?
A brownie.
There you go.
I like brownies. A real moist brownie. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason I asked that is because my wife's a baker, for one, and whenever I do the podcast in the basement, and whenever I come upstairs, she says, "What's their favorite cookie?" So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a cookie hound, but boy, you make brownies, I'm in. I have to watch myself because I'll eat the whole thing. I'll come by and sneak one, and then sneak another one, and get another corn. Yeah, I got to watch out on that.
Yeah. Troy Mims says, "Hello, everyone. He's fishing Co on Logan Martin this week." I think that's a BFL event. But
right.
Awesome Lake.
Yes. Yep. Yes, I fished it a lot. Yeah.
All right. So now this is the time where we let you do all about you. Talk about your sponsors, people that have helped you along the way, anything you want to talk about, anything you have going on. So this is for you.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm an advocate of local fishing clubs. If you're trying to get started, there are local women's fishing clubs. I mean, we do have the St. Louis Gateway Bass and Gals, and you don't have to just be from Missouri. Right now, I live in Arkansas. We hold our meetings semi-virtually. If you can't make it to the meeting, you can call in. And then I'm the tournament director right now. So we do all the draws and that at a monthly meeting. And then when we get to the lake, we do the finances and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to get into, especially women, you want to get into fishing and you don't want a lot of pressure in that, look around for some of these women's clubs. There's a lot in Texas. We got the Gateway Bass and Gals. There's a couple of them in Indiana. I'm not sure about the East Coast. But it's a really, it's a close-knit group. We've been in existence since 80-something. I can't remember. It could be 96. I don't know. But it was when the old the Bass and Gals circuit with, with all the old guys that their wives would fish, Jimmy Houston and all those folks. Yep. We have original members in our club, but we can teach you, how to back a boat down. We can teach you how to drive a boat if you want. We'll teach you all the basics for fishing, kind of set you up. See if you're really interested in fishing. A lot of people don't really like to competitively fish. They just like to fun fish, because competitive fishing is, you really have to have, it's more of a addiction, I think, that competitive fishing. And I don't fish against other people. I fish against myself and the fish. That's my mindset. So it's a puzzle. I love puzzles, so you're trying to unlock that puzzle. But the Gateway Bass and Gals and those other women's fishing clubs, those are great. That's a great starter. Otherwise, as far as sponsors are concerned, it's nice to go ahead and support your local, area fishing people. Like I have H2O Sports in North Little Rock is my maintenance guys. And they're a wonderful organization to help me if I have problems with my boat and that. They get me in real good and get me going so I can make the next tournament. I also sometimes use a local establishment here. It is I forget what their name is because I'm running out of gas. It's pretty late for me, and but I just. What is it? Anyway, I got Accent Fishing Products and Liquid Mayhem. If you use plastics, I got turned on to this by one of the ladies in the LBAA a couple of years ago, and I put Liquid Mayhem on a lot of my plastics, and I do think it helps to put some kind of juice on there sometimes. The fish get used to the same old thing, so sometimes you got to change it up a little bit. And the Liquid Mayhem, I put that on with the garlic shad or the garlic crawdad is my favorite. So I'm sponsored by Mercury Marine. I've been sponsored since I've been a boater. And the Mercury, it's just a great product for me. I mean, some people like other products, but the Mercury seems to work for me. If I have problems there, I can get that fixed pretty good. Right now, I'm under warranty, so it helps. And then just Arky lures. Especially in Missouri, a lot of the Arky products, the chompers and that work real well in those rocky lakes. Yep. So, but otherwise, I've been fishing for 24 years. I'd rather be lucky than good, but like you said earlier, even if you're lucky, you still have to be good. Yep. Otherwise, I just try to have fun out there. If people are, wanting to learn in that, I go through the process of why I do what I do sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work, but here's the process that I take and why and what I think is going on. After 24 years, you'd think you know a little bit about what's going on. Sometimes they kind of fake you out, but I think trying to teach people, just safety, teaching and safety, I like to do. But once I get on that boat, I like to get in the zone, and especially if that frog's working, I'm in. So, but I've got a little. I had a blog, not a blog, but just a little excerpt on frog fishing. And like I said, the main thing that people don't have problem with frog fishing is the hookup. And it's because either your rod isn't stiff enough or you're not setting the hook hard enough and getting where the pole's going back. So if your pole is going back into the water, when they pull that, you just need to put it across your chest and the rod won't go back, and start reeling. You'll get a better hookup ratio.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, I'm old. This may be my last year. I'm pretty sure this is my last year with the LBAA. I'm just going to do some local stuff, some charity events. I mean, it's getting hard. I'm 65 years old. It's getting hard. So it takes a lot out of you.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. So
awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. This is definitely.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Sure. This is definitely one show I'm going to watch again and again and again because.
Just call me up. Just text me. I'll show you my rod. I do have one other thing. I usually don't tout people and stuff, but I will say that the one person that I admire is Mary Lipka. She's a lady in our bass club, and like I told, I forget what I think it was Pam Hawarder. She is the first person ever to win a classic. That's a Bass and Gals Classic from the amateur division. So if you want to talk to somebody, this lady is an icon, and she's my mentor and hero of fishing. I've always admired her. She's a great person. She's one of the best people I've ever met fishing. So I want to put a shout out to Mary.
Absolutely.
I don't think she's listening, but she has this video that we watched about 10 or 15 years when she won that classic, and they had to get dressed up in dresses and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, I wish she could get it on some kind of, electronic media. I think she has it on a CD instead of like a stick where she can put it out there. But it's amazing. It's one of those things you guys got to get a hold of it. It's just, it's classic. It's just wonderful. So, but shout out to Mary. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. If you don't mind, send me a message like we've been messaging back and forth with her name, and we'll see if we can try to get her on the show.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. She's a class act. She's one of the best. So she's one of those original bass and gals. One of those original.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and she's still fishing in the club. She fished last month at she just fished last week at Table Rock with us. So.
Okay.
Good.
Nice.
All right. It's been fun, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
All right.
And
have a good night.
We'll be cheering you on the rest of the season. I hope you get that AOY. Go out on top.
I just want to have fun and be safe. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's all good. But thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Wow,
So,
she got that frog figured out.
Did you learn anything at all?
Oh yeah, I'm like you. I'm about to go back and take some notes because I love frog fish. I like you. If I get 50%, I've had a good day. So
I'm serious. If I get 15%, I'm having a banner day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that top toad, I've used that top toad. That little top toad is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like a Zoom horny toad?
Yep. The legs kick a little harder. They got like a little flat, but they kick a little harder. So good bait though.
Awesome. All right, buddy. We have someone on tomorrow. I can't remember who off the top of my head.
Archibald, ain't it?
I think so. Yeah,
yep.
David.
Hey, I remembered something. Yeah, Dave's a good one. I look forward to that.
Yep. And then Wednesday is Fishing with Legends.
Yeah.
It's an organization, so.
Cool. Can't beat that.
Things like that. Yeah. So, everybody, hope you had a fun, safe weekend. Thanks for joining us. Day 1 of day 3, right?
That's right.
All right. So, everybody have a good evening, and don't work too hard tomorrow. Don't stay up too late tonight. Just late enough to watch the rest of our show.
Yep. And we appreciate you guys tuning in, giving us likes, commenting. Really do appreciate it, guys. And stay tuned with us tomorrow, Wednesday. And we'll be like you guys. We'll learn some more stuff with you.
All right. I hope so. I'm always
Absolutely
to learn. All right, folks.
Yep.
Well, you guys take care. Thank you very much for tuning in. And like Rob said, peace out.
Peace out.